On today's Movin The Chains, Jerel, another Midlands change. That's Chris Napier taking over as the head coach of the Airport Eagles.
Man, quite the resume here. Well-traveled coach here, looking to bring something to Airport and really get them going. Just really excited to learn about his journey, his story, and how he's going to infuse some cool stuff into that program.
No doubt about it. A lot of really neat stories from him from his career. So certainly hope you guys enjoy it. Today on Movin The Chains, Chris Napier, the new head coach of the Airport Eagles.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.
Welcome into Movin The Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside Jerel Hendricks. Got a great interview today, a very special guest, the new head coach of the Airport Eagles, Chris Napier. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate your time. We really do. This is you guys' first time tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. Our website, movinchains.com, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and all other podcast platforms. Coach Napier was hired in May. He was the assistant principal and offensive analyst at Newberry. Prior, he spent time at Columbia, LaGrange College, and elsewhere in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, and North Carolina. Coach, let's start. How's that transition been? We mentioned you kind of got hired a little bit late in the cycle. How's it been, getting done at Newberry and getting over to Airport now?
I had some special people at Newberry. We mentioned earlier, Coach Jeter is one of my best friends, head coach there at Newberry High School. Hugh Mills, offensive coordinator. I was able to collaborate with them a lot, kind of show them some of the air raid offense that they put in last year. And then, of course, the administration there, Sarah Harvey's amazing, but excited to transition over into, Airport High School. My first day here officially was June 2nd. So it was that Monday. But I'm excited to meet the kids. We got some great kids. I was able to retain a lot of the staff that was here before. Of course, Mr. Shillett, he's been supportive, my principal, and of course, Dr. Hefner and Mr. Warren at the district office. But I'm really excited to get started here. And we have some world-class facilities here at Airport High School. We're getting, my first day of practice, we're walking out and they're putting down new turf, which was a good problem to have. We're about halfway done with the field now, but just some of that stuff, thought to be a part of it.
Coach, let's talk about your background. Kevin mentioned it in the intro there. You coached in multiple states. Tell us how you got into the profession and how that's been tied into your career also as an administrator.
Yes. So I started coaching when I was young. I went to the junior high that I grew up in that used to be a high school, started coaching there, and then became an offensive coordinator at the high school level at several high schools in West Virginia. Then, I fell in love with the air raid offense. I grew up in Huntington, West Virginia, so I was around during those Randy Moss, Chad Pennington, Byron Leftwich days where they were just throwing it everywhere. And then about an hour and a half down the road, when I was, in junior high, there was the Hal Mummy, Coach Leach, Tim Couch connection at University of Kentucky. So I fell in love with the air raid offense. And then I was actually able to coach with Matt Mummy, Hal Mummy's son, at LaGrange College. Really got my ends there in the air raid offense and was able to connect with Coach Leach's staff, which I was able to, spend some summers with those guys and stuff, before Coach Leach passed away at Washington State, Mississippi State. And then, just did that, coached arena football for a little while, and then transitioned into the administrator's role. Actually worked at the West Virginia Department of Education for several years, and then transferred down here to South Carolina in the South Carolina Department of Education. And was still trying to keep the dream alive of coaching and whatnot, but knew I had to get back in the school systems if I ever wanted to be a head coach again. So went to Newberry and loved it there. Met, Coach Jeter and Coach Mills and all those guys. I was able to, they had some pretty good receivers coming up through and a good quarterback, and they wanted to change on offense, and was able to share with them what we did and, with Coach Leach and all that. And they took and ran right with it. You saw the numbers they were putting up. They do a great job there at a 3A school, and then was blessed enough to get this opportunity here at Airport.
We mentioned it, Coach, a couple times already. Got hired pretty late in that cycle. How is the staff shaping up? And I know you say you retained a lot of guys, but were you able to bring some in? And also, Are you still hiring, or is it pretty set? And let's maybe shout out a couple of those guys you were able to bring over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're the ones that make it happen. So, retaining wise, we were able to keep Kyle Kaufman. He did some stuff with the D line. He's back with the O line. Had some guys, great community guys, and do special teams and secondary stuff with Lee Williams came back. Bo Bowers, he's doing our strength program and just about everything. I mean, he does a lot for this place. Bo's been here for a while. Bringing in some new guys too. Travis Barnes is the guy that's been here for a while, track coach. He's doing running backs. And then, of course, on the C team level, we were able to keep Coach Ryan O'Hara. But new guys that are coming in, Brandon Kaufman's coming up from the C team. He's an airport legend. Kenyon Earl, Airport Hall of Fame guy. He was the quarterback to Terrell Owens in college. He's coming on our staff to help coach quarterbacks. Able to get Randall Ingram from Irmo. He's doing our secondary. And then Michael Seelan, he's from Myers Park, North Carolina. He's coming down doing receivers and going to help me with the offense a lot. He's going to be our OC this year. So we're excited with the guys we got. They're working hard, and it's just getting everybody on the same page. And but they've been great, especially the guys that were here before, connecting us with the kids and kind of showing us the airport way.
Coach, defense, before we get into the offensive stuff that you're very familiar with, what should we expect out of that Air Force defense? What are you going to do schematically there? If you don't mind, kind of explaining, people who might not know more about those air raid concepts and that offense as a whole as well.
Right. So defensively, we brought in Colby Key from Newberry. He's an airport grad as well, but he was a strength and conditioning coach at Newberry High School. He's going to be our defensive coordinator. Literally looking at some odd front stuff, but we need to go into some even too. We just did all of our maxes this week, and we had some pretty strong linemen. So we've been, they're the strongest group for sure. So we're kind of looking at that, probably getting more linemen on the field. So odd front, but shift into some even fronts. The air raid, everybody says they run the air raid. I was blessed enough to know Coach Leach and his staff, so I got it straight from the source there. So it's not a complex offense. It's we want to be Chick-fil-A. We don't want to be McDonald's. We want to serve the best chicken sandwiches ever. So the way we practice our schemes, we're going to be efficient. We're going to be detail oriented, and try to get our playmakers the ball in space.
You've mentioned a couple guys already, Coach, with Coach Leach and Coach Mummy and those folks, but who are some guys that, you kind of feel like you really picked up a lot from over the years, kind of modeled your style after? And then also, are there guys maybe now at the pro or college level you like to watch and kind of pick things from as well?
Well, the pro and I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan. So,
okay.
The NFL, it's like the schemes are just out there. But I will say, I love the way Coach McDermott coaches. You can tell those guys love him. And man, being a Bills fan, it's been some years now. We've been pretty good recently, but he really changed that culture, and you can tell that people buy into what he does. So, my dad, I know it's going to sound silly. My dad, he wasn't a football coach, but he was a baseball coach, and he just, he kept the main thing. And a lot of how I treat people comes from him, and hard work. I told you I grew up in West Virginia near the coal mine. So, that hard work, blue collar, show up every day and just grind it out. I learned that from my grandpa and my dad. But I still keep up with some of the guys that were on Coach Leach's staff. They're kind of dispersed. Coastal Carolina, Drew Hollinshead, he's there, still doing a lot of what Coach Leach does. My buddy Eric Mealy, he's a special teams guy at JMU right now. But I just try to keep up with all those guys and have a good contact with them.
Coach, we'll extend you a little bit of grace. You mentioned we're catching you. You're only about 3 or 4 weeks onto the job, so you might not know. But who are some guys that maybe you've identified through 7-on-7s, off-season workouts, and things like that? So special players that you really expect to help your program moving forward.
Okay, well, we have the defensive side. We have Conyers. He's going to be a linebacker for us. He's going to be a junior. We're done. I mean, they're looking at the roster. They're on the team. So we're really building something here. It's going to be a process, not an event. But all these guys I'm about to mention to you, most of them are underclassmen. But we have Justin Conyers. He's a great athlete in the line, a little overhang linebacker, maybe some inside linebacker for us. On the offensive line, a lot of these guys play both ways. But Ben Humphreys, he's going to be our center. He's a pretty strong, stout lineman. We have Daniel Butts, he's another offensive lineman that seems to be pretty strong for us. And, of course, in our backfield, we got Kendrick Pearson and Ethan Pringle. Those are two guys that I think can really do something when they get the ball in their hands. But, it's funny because where I am newer, just learning these kids and just them getting the opportunity, maybe do some things they haven't been able to do in the past and prove themselves, them trying to make a name for themselves. It's been pretty get to know the kids, those relationships.
Jerel mentioned, we're talking to you now. It's kind of the height of 7-on-7 season. Have you been able to participate in many of those? Do you like that stuff? And also, have you gotten big into the 11-on-11? This, became, I guess, legal a couple of years ago here now in the state.
Yeah, we've done, I believe, two. We did one 7-on-7, and we've done one 11-on-11. Now we have another one tomorrow at Swansea. We have some more coming up, but we were just trying to get the schedules worked out where I came in so new. There wasn't a lot on the schedule already established. Of course, Newberry is going to help us out. We're going to do a 7-on-7, 11-on-11 with them. But I had never really done the 11-on-11s. I've done one of each this year. We did one 7-on-7, one 11-on-11. With 11-on-11, and I loved it. Corey Helms, he's a great coach. He organized the whole thing. That's the format we're going with tomorrow at Swansea. But yeah, I think anytime you can compete, get your kids out there competing that are against people that aren't you, that's a good thing. And then, just getting to network with some of these coaches and get to meet as well. So yeah, I've enjoyed it, and I do like the 11-on-11 format.
Coach, we've been fortunate in our program, having connections across the state to really know what Airport brings to the table as far as facilities and that school and districts and things like that. But what attracted you and stood out to that job as you were going through this process that really made you, want to go after it?
I think it has a very strong it's community support. The people in the Airport district love Airport. I mean, that is very well known. And that was something during the interview process that they were very, upfront about. They care about this area. A lot of them it's not a new school. They've been here for a while, so they got alumni. There's businesses that really pour into this place. Coach Fiddler, Shane Fiddler, he did a great job, with the AD part of it and just hosting events and trying to, in Lexington 2 school district, improving the facilities. Like I said, the turf earlier, we just resurfaced the tennis courts. Our weight room is immaculate. The baseball success, we just won shipping baseball because Bradwell's done a great job with that. There's just so many positives here in this Airport community. And, we just want to showcase that. Like I said, Coach Fiddler did a good job of that. The principal, he loves this place, and Mr. Shillett. So just trying to tie all that in together and try to continue on some things that they've already had in place here.
You mentioned it, Coach. This is a program that you feel like it's kind of trending upwards, under Coach Fiddler and what they had going on there. But even when you coming in there, is there one thing you're like, hey, this is, what I really want to change to really take that next step or really to kind of put your stamp on the program?
Yeah, I think every coach would say they want to change something or, put their stamp on it is probably the better way to do it. I would love to increase our participation, and we're doing that. At the lower levels, we have a lot of kids that are coming up. I told you we're full of underclassmen, so the future is bright. I mean, if we can turn around this year, it's going to be a great place to be at. Those kids are working hard and they're really buying in. But being an air raid guy, I mean, I want people to know that we're going to throw the ball around, and I kind of want that to be our identity and us hang our hat on that. And it's fun and it's different. I just kind of want to put our brand, as you would say, Coach Leach had the pirate and swing your sword and all that stuff. I wanted them to know that we're going to take flight at Airport, and we're going to swing our sword our own way.
Coach, you talked about your experience and your background, and what attracted you to Airport, but we've seen an influx of coaches come into the state of South Carolina from all over the country as well. What brought you here to South Carolina, and what made this area attractive?
So I always joke with everybody, and I can say this because I'm a West Virginian. It's the hillbilly Bahamas, man. It's just great weather and it's super nice. You're close to the beach. But no, so once again, I worked at the West Virginia Department of Ed, and then we always want to move south. I'm married. I've been married for 15 years. We have 2 great sons. They're 13 and 10 now. But when we moved here 5 years ago, they were younger, and we just wanted to give them a great opportunity. And I think the state of South Carolina in general does that, and I always love West Virginia. I'm not knocking West Virginia, but there's a lot more opportunity here. So we moved to this state when I worked at the South Carolina Department of Education and just fell in love with the Columbia area. My wife works in the Forest Acres area at a grade school. And of course I'm here now in West Columbia, but it's just a great place to raise your family and work. And, it's a great place to be at. And South Carolina takes their athletics very serious. To me, if I'm going to go to a state and do this, I want to do it where it matters to them. And South Carolina definitely shows that athletics matter to them.
Coach, Airport, like you mentioned, is a proud community, a strong community as well. How would they really embrace you and your family as you've been there just in this short time?
Oh, they've been great. I mean, I've met so many people, and it's funny because you've got all these names going on in your mind, not only with your team, but now the community members. So how's it going, sir? How's it, man? But no, they've taken me in. They want to win. They want to be good. And they want us to build positive relationships because, like you guys said, with all that alumni and stuff, it's been here for so long. It's important to so many people. But they've taken me in with open arms, and they showed me the ropes and showed me where to go and all that stuff. So they've been super supportive. And I hope in the near future we can put a product out there that they're all proud of. But really just want to show them that, of course I want to win games and I want to build this thing into a powerhouse. I mean, what coach wouldn't want to do that? But it really goes beyond the game. If I can help make these guys better husbands and fathers and citizens, I'm also the athletic director. So pouring into the other coaches and the other athletes here and just helping people get where they want to go, then I think that's how we measure success. It's not what the scoreboard shuts off for everybody eventually, but what do we do after life? And if we can do that, I think if we take care of the main thing, little things will work out for us.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
Got a couple easier ones here for you, Coach, for us to go today. Maybe it's on the bus to an away game, in your office for a home game, but what's on your pregame playlist you get ready to take the field?
On my pregame
yeah.
playlist? You want me to say Country Roads? I know you do, but that's not what's in my pregame.
I didn't even think about that, Coach.
Man, I listen to everything. I like rap music. I like country music. It doesn't matter to me, but whatever gets me in the mood that day, I'll be happy to listen to it.
We got some intel, obviously, from somebody, a source. We'll say this, Coach. We want to ask about your recent. You're bilingual. You were able to learn Spanish. How'd that come about?
Who have you all been talking to, man?
We don't reveal our sources here.
No English, amigo. No, but it's a long story. But to keep it short, man, it's always good to have multiple languages, especially in some of the places I've worked. So being able to communicate with all those families, it's a key element for success. And you want to connect with people, build relationships, you got to be able to communicate with them. So that is why I enjoy being bilingual.
Coach, you mentioned him several times, and that's Coach Mike Leach, a guy that had a huge personality, one of the, most well-known guys across college football. And since you've had some time to spend with him, do you have maybe a best Mike Leach story you could share with us today?
Oh, my goodness. You all have really been talking to people. You guys have been talking to people. Oh, gosh. There's so many, and especially ones that you've heard that are hilarious. You want a funny one? You want a funny story?
Sure. That'd be perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So I cannot confirm who told me this story, but they were in a quarterback meeting one time, and something had happened, and the quarterbacks had messed up on something, and he had made a reference to, remember the old 1980s movie Red Dawn, the Red Dawn movie. He made a reference to that. Well, all those guys at Mississippi State, they'd never seen that movie. They're all younger guys, and he said, "Are you all kidding me? You've never seen that movie?" So he then purchased the movie, made them watch the entire movie of Red Dawn, and then continued the quarterback meeting after they had finished the movie. So, but no, Coach Leach, he was funny, and there's all kinds of funny stories about him. But he was one of a kind, and he's dearly missed. So he did it his way, and you got to honor that.
Coach, we were chatting off air. You mentioned that you watched the program, so this question was coming. This is one we ask every guest on the show. I know you've only been there a few weeks, but in that West Columbia area, I'll give you some leeway. We'll let you go to Newberry if you want to shout somebody out up there as well. But what's a go-to restaurant that you like to attend? And
well,
some good food?
this will be a first. I can give you one in Newberry, and I can give you one down here in West Columbia.
Let's do it
if you want it. Went to Steve's Sandwich Shop in West Columbia. That place was awesome. It's kind of right there in South Congaree. They have hot food subs. It was amazing. And then my absolute 2 favorite restaurants in Newberry was Mig's Restaurant of Newberry. I love that place. And then, of course, El Poblano. Arroz con pollo sin cebollas. That's the best. So you got to love it.
I love it. Well, Coach, obviously it's still a little bit early here to talk to you over the summer, but do you have any goals set yet for 2025 for the Airport Eagles?
Yeah, like I said, increase participation, show the kid that, life is bigger than football, and then also improve on the field. So those are our 3 goals. But, if like I said, I want us to win, I want us to do good. But if we're helping them on and off of the field, then we're doing our job as coaches.
Well, this has been great. I want everyone to go check out Coach Napier and the Airport program on social media. They do a great job posting updates on their program and their kids. Like I mentioned, follow us on all social media platforms. MovingTheChains.com is our website and our podcast on all podcast platforms. Moving the Chains is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Jerel, anything else for Coach? Let him go today.
Hey, Coach Napier, thank you so much for your time, especially, it's valuable this time of the year as well. So we really appreciate you joining us today to tell us about you as a coach and your plans for the future with that Airport program. And you learned some fun stuff about you as well. So we wish you continued success and good luck on the upcoming season.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you, Coach. Look forward to stopping by, practice or a game, and getting to meet you in person. And best of luck, all right?
Thank you, sir. Anytime. Come on by.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.